Thank you for joining us on the program. Let us begin with Ivory Coast. This Wednesday, Simone Gbagbo, the wife of former President Laurent Gbagbo, will be released from prison after President Alassane Ouattara granted pardons for around 800 people, including the former First Lady. Simone, who some have called the Iron Lady, was arrested on April 11, 2011, alongside her husband after several months of crisis following the October 2010 presidential election. She had been serving a 20-year sentence handed to her in 2015 for endangering state security.
Then, without much surprise, Jerry, the decision of President Alassane Ouattara got mixed reactions in the country and beyond. While some congratulate the president's attempt to unite the country, others deplore lack of memory. The issue of national reconciliation in Côte d'Ivoire after the decade of a political military crisis in the 2000s has still until now been considered by observers as a black spot in President Ouattara's record. Without further ado, we speak to Pascal Affingesson, the president of the Ivorian Popular Front, the party to which Simone Gbagbo also belongs. Thanks for joining us in the program. So the former First Lady, Simone Gbagbo, who was serving a 20-year sentence for breach of state security, will benefit from the amnesty measure that President Alassane Ouattara announced on Monday in a speech on the eve of the country's Independence Day. Is it a measure that surprised many, especially within the Ivorian Popular Front party? Yes, we are indeed pleased with this amnesty measure, which allows former First Lady Simone Gbagbo, as well as several comrades from the Ivorian Popular Front and activists who had been imprisoned since the post-election crisis, to regain their freedom. This is a relief for the entire Ivorian population, because their arrest and detention was a national problem, since it constituted a major obstacle to national reconciliation. And the release of Simone Gbagbo will undoubtedly bring about many changes within the IFP party, right? Even beyond the IFP party, it is in Côte d'Ivoire that there will be many changes, because we interpret this gesture as a manifestation of a desire to ease tension in Ivorian politics, so as to create the conditions for national reconciliation. But the country needs it. All Ivorians aspire to have peace, stability and unity. And until then, this aspiration was hampered by the consequences of the post-election crisis. These measures, together with measures to reform the Independent Electoral Commission and the Electoral Code, will truly resolve all the problems that weigh down politics in the country. So for the IFP party, it's a moment of liberation, since it will allow us to better deploy ourselves, to find the executives, to overcome even the internal crisis, which to a large extent draws its source from the incarceration of all its comrades. Thus, the frustrations of the resentments which were accumulated because of all that we underwent.
Des rancœurs qui étaient accumulées à cause de tout ce que nous avons subi.
And 2 years before the next presidential elections, we imagine that Mrs. Gbagbo will have a great role to play in making the party a real heavyweight for the opposition. Are you listening? I repeat again. So 2 years before the next presidential election, we imagine that Mrs. Gbagbo will have a great role to play in making the party a real heavyweight for the opposition. But of course, she is a politician who has already played an important role in the party and in the life of Côte d'Ivoire. She still has much to contribute to the party and to Côte d'Ivoire. And I'm convinced that she will spare no means to play the role that the country expects from her in this delicate phase of history.
Que le pays peut attendre d'elle dans cette phase délicate de son histoire.
A last question. So the party has been calling for the release of former President Laurent Gbagbo, who is serving a sentence at The Hague for crimes against humanity. The amnesty granted to his wife must certainly be a motivating element to accentuate this request.
Pour accentuer cette demande de libération de M. Gbagbo.
We must all mobilize to try to succeed, given that there is this wind of easing of tensions and reconciliation. We must ensure that the international community, and in particular the International Criminal Court, take note of the fact that Ivorians want to turn the page on the post-electoral crisis of 2010-2011, and that they want to sit down around the same table as brothers and sisters to talk about their country, to heal the wounds of past conflicts, and to build the future together. And that for that, President Gbagbo must be released, because he is a major player, because his contribution to this reconciliation process is necessary, and I would even say essential. And detaining him will not give Côte d'Ivoire the chance to turn the page on the crisis and regain its political stability.
Et ne pas le libérer, c'est ne pas donner la chance à la Côte d'Ivoire de tourner la page de la crise et de retrouver sa stabilité politique.